So just before we start today, I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge that Queen's University, which is located in Kingston, Ontario, is situated on Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee territory. And we're very grateful to be able to live and learn on these lands today. I know we have some guests here who are not located within our region. So if you're outside of Kingston and you don't know the traditional lands on which you're a guest, I'd encourage you to look up at some point that information and maybe even create an acknowledgement of your own in order to recognize and become an active ally with the Indigenous partners and communities from where you're situated. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Mina. She's going to lead us through this buyer's persona workshop. If you have questions throughout the workshop, please feel free to unmute yourself. You can ask questions. This is an interactive workshop, so by all means, discussion is welcome. And I'll let Mina introduce herself and go from here.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Amanda. Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here today. Before starting, I'd like to mention that this education series is presented by HubSpot for Startups. Our program is a combination of education resources and tailored training, integrated platform for startups, and last but not the least, the startup pricing that we give to our professional software. We give up to 90% discount to our startups through approved partners. I will leave the slide here for you guys so then you can check it out when you receive a copy of the presentation. So today we will be talking about buyer's persona. But before I tell you guys about myself, why don't you tell me a little bit about you? So my first question is, are you a B2B or a B2C? And feel free to drop that in the chat or unmute yourself. Don't be shy, B2B and B2C, awesome. Anyone else wants to share? All right, my next question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with inbound marketing and sales? So 1 means you don't know anything, and then 10 means that you're actually an expert. B2B, I've taken HubSpot course. Oh, nice. 3, okay. Awesome. Next question. Do you guys have your buyer persona defined? Yes, no, maybe, no buyer persona. Do you know who you're selling to? Not yet. Okay. Not 100%. Yes, working on it. Okay, cool. And finally, my last question for you guys. Tell me about your business model in 3 words. So if you were to describe your business idea, how would you describe it? Come on, guys, don't be shy. I want to learn from you guys too, just as much. All right,
to unmute myself if that's okay for a second. It's too long to message. My name is Nicole and I'm from downtown Kingston business improvement area. So we're a little bit of a different kind of business. We're a nonprofit and we serve the businesses that are in the downtown Kingston core. So the HubSpot and the buyer persona is a little bit different for us because we're not actually selling things to people, we're helping other people, but we do look at our target market and who comes to the downtown Kingston. So
that's good to know. Thank you for sharing, Nicole. Anybody else would like to share?
I just unmuted myself, but essentially my business is YGK Takeaway. We're a delivery business here in Kingston. So we do offer like B2B delivery and we also offer B2C delivery, and we're going to be launching an app soon that's similar to Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes and all that, but for local businesses. So that's our business.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Tegan. All right, I'm going to move on from this. So as you guys may know, my name is Nina. I am part of HubSpot's partnerships team. I was essentially hired a few months ago to manage the Canadian portfolio and work with our partners locally. I am a U of T engineering graduate and I used to work in fintech. If you have been on President's Choice Financial website to check out their credit cards at some point, I actually delivered that. So on today's agenda, we're going to talk about buyer's persona, how to build one, our very own internal example by HubSpot, negative personas, buyer's journey, and if time permits, we will go over about building the personas ourselves today. So first things first, I understand that sales and marketing can be difficult topics. And before we begin, I like to talk about our flywheel. In today's role, growing one has never been harder. So we definitely empathize with the efforts startups go through. So I challenge startups not to think of customers as an afterthought. They are not an output. Your sales, marketing, and customer service investments need to put your customers at the center of your business. So ultimately, creating a great customer experience and making sure they are part of a go-to-market strategy is really, really important. And that's how we think about the flywheel. Amazon has a fantastic flywheel model where they say they want to be the most customer-centric company in the world, and they will do anything and everything to accomplish a great customer experience. So whether it's sales, marketing, or service, keep your customers in mind. Customer experience is a key component in our business model and the reason why we care about personas so much. We've learned that 74% of customers will likely switch brands if they find the purchasing process too difficult, or they simply don't like the process for whatever reason. 51% of customers will never do business with a company again after just one negative experience. But then on the bright side, 93% of customers are more likely to return to a business with remarkable customer service. And 77% of customers are likely to share positive experiences with their network, including friends, social media, and review websites. So how do these metrics tie back to our business? We go back to the basics here and start with a persona. So what is a persona to begin with? Buyer personas are semi-fictional representations of your ideal customers based on data and research. They'll help you focus your time on qualified prospects, guide product development to suit the needs of your target customers, and align all work across your organization from marketing to sales to service. As a result, you'll be able to attract high-value visitors, leads, and customers to your business, who you're more likely to retain over time. So more specifically, having a deep understanding of your buyer's persona is critical to driving content creation, product development, sales follow-up, and really anything that relates to customer acquisition and retention. So why should you care about your persona? One, your persona is going to define your marketing strategies. Your persona is going to define your sales processes, and it will also define your customer service level. Remember, when it comes to your persona, it's not what you sell, it's how you sell and how you go to market. So you're going to have at least one persona for your business. How do we actually build one? We're basically looking for that oh my God moment that makes your customer feel understood. I'm going to break this down into 5 simple steps. 1 is research your customer base and do your homework upfront. 2, segment buyer personas. 3, create a name and a story. 4, focus on roles, goals, and challenges. And 5, use your buyer personas to craft tailored marketing and sales strategies. So for step 1, research your customer base and do your homework upfront. All great personas start with a little bit of research. So even if you feel like you already have a pretty good grasp on who most of your clients are, it's worth to take a hard look. Not just at who you're already selling to, but who you'd like to sell to in the future. Who is buying from you? Where is your competition seeing success? Where do you want your company to grow? It's always easiest to start with what you know, and you can talk to your customer-facing employees, clients, and do some data analysis to get this information. Step 2, segment buyer personas. The research step is the most time-consuming one. Once you have that out of the way, you'll have everything you need to actually start writing your buyer personas. Organize your information and start looking for similarities in the goals and challenges you've uncovered in your research. These similarities in what clients and prospects are looking for from your company or your product, this is going to help you group all of the many potential clients into distinct sets of buyer personas. Now that you reviewed and organized your research, you can start to determine how many buyer personas you'll actually define. So one example, you could segment them per industry. Step 3, create a name and a story. So start by giving your persona a name. The point of defining buyer personas at all is to help you market and sell personally. Giving your buyer personas names makes it personal. Once you've got a name in mind, start writing down everything you discovered in your research. How old is your persona? What job titles might they hold if they're B2B? Where do they live? And answers to all of these questions and any more that you can think of will help you provide context for your buyer persona's goals and motivations. The better you understand what you want and why they want it, the better you'll be able to interact with them in the future. Step 4, this is a big one and probably the most important one. Focus on roles, goals, and challenges. So roles are straightforward, but goals and challenges, they need to be reviewed in depth. Understanding what your buyer personas want is the key to offering them the marketing content and sales services that will genuinely help them. Maybe your buyer persona is looking for ways to improve their business's profitability. Maybe they have a goal to move up in the company and they are looking to spearhead initiatives that exemplify their leadership qualities. On the other hand, maybe your buyer persona is nearing retirement and they want to do their job well without making any waves until they can retire safely. Pull out all of the goals you identified in your buyer persona's free write and organize them into a goal section. Understanding your buyer persona goals is key to offering them personalized, helpful service. When your team understands what a persona is trying to achieve, even if it's not directly related to what your company offers, they will be able to better tailor their methods and strategies in a way that resonates with that persona. The challenges section of a buyer's persona is really key to understand. This is where you identify the pain points of each buyer persona. And when you understand your buyer's pain points, you can work to solve them. Take a look at that long narrative you wrote for your buyer's persona. What is keeping them from reaching their goals? What parts of their job are difficult? Do they have trouble selling initiatives up to their boss? Are they worried about making big investments? Are they so busy that they don't have a chance to even consider how their business could improve? Whatever the challenge is, this is the place to call them out. Take the time to get specific too. The more challenges you can identify for each persona, the more opportunities you have to deliver solutions. And the more solutions you deliver, the more attractive and helpful your company is to those qualified leads. Step 5, use your buyer personas to craft tailored marketing and sales strategies. When you know who your buyer personas are and you're familiar with their roles, goals, and challenges, you can then develop sales and marketing strategies tailored to just those people who you know are excellent fits for your company. You've gone to all the trouble to make these buyer personas. Now it's the time to use them. So help familiarize your goals and marketing teams with each persona. Create ad campaigns that correspond to each persona's favorite platform. Develop content that speaks to the specific pain points and challenges identified in your buyer personas. And take a stock of your existing content. Does it speak to one or more of your personas? And if not, then make some changes. And finally, optimize your landing pages and speak to your personas and speak to them in their language. We use this checklist as a reference to help us figure out our sales processes and marketing strategies at HubSpot. I know this is a repeat, but I want to go over it one more time. Some additional things we look at, including watering holes, vendor preferences, and the type of organizations our personas work at. So for us, it really comes down to these questions. Our customer has a goal and they have a plan. So what's stopping them from going from point A to point B? And what is that pain point like? And can we actually solve for that pain point? You're going to have access to this checklist, and you can definitely do this on your own. I'm going to pause here. Do you guys have any questions, any comments? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I guess I do kind of have a question.
Awesome.
and maybe you're going to touch on this at some point, so apologies if you do, but is it okay to have like multiple personas then?
Absolutely. Yeah, you will need more than one. Like we have probably dozens, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'll cover 3 of them, but yeah, you'll definitely need more than one.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah. Any more questions? All right, let's move on and look at some HubSpot examples. So as we mentioned, you will have at least one, and I'm going to share a few with you guys. I like to show a real life example of how personas change over time and shifted a sales process. So Marketing Mary was HubSpot's first persona ever. She's out of date enough that she has a BlackBerry, and then some technology is really out of date here. You know, she's using Hotmail. Nobody's using Hotmail anymore. But then why did she come to HubSpot? It was because she wanted to learn more about inbound marketing. This persona is someone who is not tech savvy. If anything, she's a bit afraid, and she views a CRM platform as a cost, not an investment. So the sales process back then was to educate this persona first and give them tons of useful information, to start with blogs, social media, and academy videos. And it was all designed around the idea for Marketing Mary to buy into it. The updated version today is actually Marketing Michelle. So Marketing Mary doesn't exist for us anymore. Target persona, skill set, and company hasn't changed. What is changed is her understanding of technology and the probable investment mindset. So at this point, Marketing Michelle is much more familiar with what a CRM platform is. She's super comfortable with technology, but she's not technical. She leans on her network to help her with the use of technology. Why she chooses HubSpot? It's really different than Marketing Mary. Marketing Michelle had negative experiences with the tools in the past. Marketing Mary, on the other hand, she's just really skeptical of technology, but Marketing Michelle understands it. Instead, Marketing Michelle has been burnt many times in the past before, and she doesn't like salespeople that much. So it's really important to validate that persona and address the mistrust very early on in the sales process. This really changed our processes at HubSpot. We audited our own customer base, about 800 customers, to build this persona. And I highly recommend everyone to construct their ideal personas as well, because you might find a new one like Growth Gary. Growth Gary is our new persona. Growth Gary is the head of growth at a 25% startup, and he likes to be the power user and knows the nitty-gritty of technology. He has some experience in sales and growth. He's got high ambition, and he wants to be an entrepreneur. And he's got a personal brand too, and he really wants to be known for that personal brand. He's not necessarily a loyal customer, and he's more interested in trendy things. So he's completely different from Marketing Michelle, and he probably signed up with us through free tools. So we have a sales process that is very different from Marketing Michelle. Growth Gary has different values and goals. He prefers to take the information he needs, he makes the decision, and then he moves on. And that behavior dictates our sales process at HubSpot. Growth Gary moves fast, and back then we didn't have anything in motion for him. We started with the free versions of our tools, so then Growth Gary could be wooed and love HubSpot CRM. As he tested out more things and he liked the platform, he became a more loyal customer. We essentially created our HubSpot for Startups program around Growth Gary to help him financially make the decision to purchase our higher value products. At HubSpot for Startups, for example, our customers account for 10% of our sales, and it really came from a simple observation a few years ago. We saw the opportunity to change the sales process and taking into account how the buyer likes to buy. So to recap our examples, Growth Gary buys totally different than Marketing Michelle, but both of them are buying the exact same product. Marketing Michelle needs a complex sales process. Growth Gary doesn't work that way. If he likes something, he's gonna buy it. Sometimes he'll buy it even before trying it. And we shifted our model to work with our personas. We have examples of sales processes for each of them. And we understand this, and we ultimately want to make sure that we're giving the best experience possible for each persona. So for example, we encourage Growth Gary to try our free CRM. We actually leave him alone and we don't talk to him. But then on the other hand, we encourage Marketing Michelle to speak with the sales team so then she can get an inbound growth assessment. Any comments here? Any questions before I move on to the next section? No? All right. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the negative personas. A bad persona is someone who you're not going to target. This persona is not a lead for you, and you basically don't want to spend your sales and marketing efforts on them. Assuming you have a go-to-market strategy, a negative persona is essentially someone who is not the right target for your business. If you take the time to also create negative personas, you'll have the added advantage of being able to segment out the bad apples from the rest of your contacts, which can help you achieve a lower cost per lead and cost per customers, and therefore see higher sales productivity. So ask yourself this question: who am I not selling to? Who am I not marketing to? And who am I not targeting here? So for us, for example, our products are probably not a good fit for teams who want their contact information database to be centralized. We're also not a good fit for businesses who are looking for financial tools or inventory management tools. So for inventory management, we know we can provide some creative capabilities, but we're not at full capacity. So if a customer comes to us asking for an ERP, we essentially tell them we're not the right people. Buyer personas, they help you understand your customers and prospective customers better. This makes it easier for you to tailor your content, messaging, product development, sales process, and services to meet the specific needs, behavior, and concerns of the member of your target audience. And for that reason, understanding a buyer's journey is also really important. Remember, we're putting our persona at the center of our business. Going back to this flywheel that I showed in the beginning, we mentioned attract, engage, and delight. And this is really important for mapping out a buyer's journey as well. The buyer's journey is the active research process a potential buyer goes through leading up to their purchase. It follows them through the stages of becoming aware of a need, considering different solutions to fulfill that need, and then making a decision between different solutions. You can use the buyer's journey to create content at different stages, and this is how we identified it. At the most basic level, developing personas allows you to create content and messaging that appeals to your target audience. It also enables you to target or personalize your marketing for different segments of your audience. So for example, instead of sending the same lead nurturing emails to everyone in your database, you can segment by buyer persona and then tailor your messaging to what you know about those different personas. When combined with life cycle stage, for example, how far along someone is in your sales cycle, buyer persona is going to allow you to map out and create highly targeted content for them. This is our internal buyer's journey we use for reference. We consider our buyer persona at every stage of this journey, and we make sure we approach them the way they like to be approached. Every part of this journey is an opportunity for us to put them at the center of our business. Our blog content is very much so tailored, and we know that when we put out a blog post, we're targeting our persona at the awareness stage. On the other hand, demos are for the decision stage. We also consider every single step as a marketing opportunity, even if we're doing a demo. If we're doing a demo, like, yeah, we're kind of counting on them buying our product, but if they don't, we still take it as a marketing opportunity. We're really, really careful with how we think about our processes through. Knowing our persona, defining our buyer's journey, shaping our marketing strategy, we then shift our focus on the sales process. So your deal stages are also really important for your business based on your persona. In our instance, we look at discovery, defining value, demonstration of value, achieving buy, and finally negotiating. Keep in mind, sales processes can be different depending on your products, offerings, business model, and again, your target customer. It's not one size fits all, but you need to make sure what you do is scalable so that when you need to change it, you can. Agility is really key. You should also know the probability of success in each stage. So for example, discovery stage is probably about 20% successful and so on, based on what we know about our personas. So here, just taking a look at the deal stage, if we're dealing with growth, Gary, we probably skip demonstration of value here. So we're not doing a demo for them because we know that growth, Gary, is very touchless. On the other hand, we probably spend a lot of time with Marketing Michelle when we're doing a demo because it's a long process to go through. So we also know that when we go through our deal stages as well. It's really important for you guys to answer this question for your business. How does your customer like to buy based on your persona? Or alternatively, how do they want to engage with your business? Some key takeaways before we get into our discussions. One, understand your persona. Two, sell how your personas want to purchase. Three, market your customer the way that they want to be attracted, engaged, and retained. Four, make sure your sales and marketing and services teams are aligned when it comes to your persona. And lastly, build a cohesive brand across all teams so then you can service your personas the way they want to be serviced. So I want to learn from you guys. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your personas? If you don't have one, we can actually have a tool that we can go through together. But before we go through that process, I'd like to hear from you guys a little bit. And feel free to unmute yourself. No.
I don't have mine right in front of me, but okay. I know that why I said I didn't have it 100% was because I don't have the psychographics really yet, or whatever the fourth one was in your column. But essentially, geographically, it would be people who are living in Kingston, ages 30 to 55, male and female. And we're targeting also working professionals and also busy families. So families that, you know, their kids play sports or things like that.
Okay, so
that's our customer persona.
So it sounds like you have probably about 3 at least that I can see. So like a working professional is a really different persona for you than a family when they order from you. Is that fair?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. And then youngsters probably order very differently than people who are like probably past 40 or 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know if your personas need education or minimal touch, or do they want to be engaged? Have you explored those areas yet?
I haven't fully explored that, no. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Anyone else wants to share their personas and talk about their business? No.
Oh, I can share ours for a minute. So we would have 2 completely separate areas of personas. The one which is already taken care of by our marketing and sales department is for the visitors who come to downtown Kingston. So that's a separate side. My side of it is our members. And I mean, that persona is very different because it's not a make it or break it. They're members regardless. So, I mean, they may not be happy with us, but they're a member and our customers regardless. So it would be a very different type of persona. So we're working on going through stats to kind of build a few options so that we can communicate more efficiently with them.
Okay, fair enough. Have you done your data analysis and kind of get an idea of what they're like and how their behavior is like?
We know that from personal experience, but the actual stats we're still working on. We're still trying to build a really good database with all of their information. So, I mean, that's a work in progress, but yeah.
So for us, when we go through our personas, like 2 questions we always ask is like, do they need education or do they not need education? Like how much knowledge they have about our service or our product. And then do they need minimal touch or do they want to be highly engaged with us? Because like, again, like going back to Growth Gary and Marketing Michelle, even though they're buying the same product, they're so different from each other. And like, if we approach Growth Gary the way we approach with Marketing Michelle, it's going to be downhill. He's not going to engage with us whatsoever. So we really, really pay attention to all those things.
Yeah, those are some big areas that we have for sure. We have people that have limited technology skills. They often rely on family members. And then, yeah, we have some people that are very engaged as well. So that fits us.
Anybody else wants to share? So I've never done this in another workshop before. We can give it a try if you guys are open to it. We actually have Make My Persona tool. It takes about maybe 10-15 minutes to go through the full journey. And I know we have about half hour left. So if you guys are open to it, we can definitely go on the website. You guys can build it as we speak and go over it. And then I can have this here as an example. So if you're interested, feel free to stay on the call and we'll go over it together.
Mina, would you be able to put the link into the chat so people can easily just click and go to it?
Absolutely. Let me just copy. There you go. And I'll put this example up just so you guys can see what types of stuff we put in terms of information. And if you want to talk about it while you go through the journey, we're a small group. Feel free to unmute yourself and mention it and talk about it. And if you guys want to share a screen, feel free, let me know and I'll stop sharing too. So are you guys going through the journey? Yeah, okay. No one's saying anything, I'm just checking. Oh, thank you, Tegan. What questions do you use to explore each step a bit further? Very good question. So I'm going to go back to this slide. So this is our checklist. This is what we always going through, and keep in mind, HubSpot is B2B, so you may want to tailor this for yourself a little bit. But we always go through these lists of questions. And again, like you want to go beyond like age, role, title. You really want to be a little bit more in depth about it. You want to understand their goals and challenges, because once you get their pain point, you can actually figure out your sales process and marketing strategy and attract them the way that they want to be attracted. And also remember, your persona is looking for you just as much you are looking for them. So that's also another reason why you need to know your persona, so then you can kind of attract them. It's easier for a business to find a customer than a customer to find a business, I guess, as a magnet, if that makes any sense. No worries. Also, is it possible to? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give a copy to Amanda right after our workshop. Where are you guys with the journey? Defining your career. Awesome. So I guess, Tegan, for you, just focus on one persona. So for example, you could focus on the professional, the young professional only, and just define that persona. And then you could do another one after the workshop for families. I will do mine later as mine is complex and I have multiple personas. Okay. So Tegan, I'm going to put you on the spot. Once you go through the journey, I'm going to ask you to share and tell me how you put it together. Any other questions? Any other discussion points? Anyone? Is anyone ready to share? Yes, no, maybe.
Can I ask a question, Mina?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm thinking of someone like Nicole who has multiple complex people. So if would you write the personas based on what their biggest challenge is, or would you go more by like what their demographics might be when you're constructing something like that?
Honestly, it's not one size fits all. I think it's best to like look at the data on what they have. So like for example, in Tegan's case, well, like we said, she has an idea here. So it's like, yeah, group your professional and then have your family. And then maybe like people are like a little bit on the older side or younger side. So like she's looking at probably 2-3 personas here. Nicole, on the other hand, she's probably, she didn't give me a lot of information to get a sense of it, but like she could segment that per industry if she wants to. She could segment that per maybe their social status if she wants to. It really depends on her business model and what she's looking at. So for example, like for us, when I look at our personas, we're very industry agnostic. So we would work with anybody, like insurance, construction, anyone, right? So we're not looking at industry, but we do break it down per profession because we know that the people that we work with, they're all in the marketing team. So it really depends on the business idea. I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
So I would have to do a little more research. Like this is just kind of a draft thing that I just like whipped together to kind of see how it fits, like how it works, I guess. because like I chose an accountant or sorry, no, I think I changed it to like a chief financial officer. But I had a question. So goals or objectives, that section at the end, like that would be their professional goals or objectives?
It would be related to you, right? So for example, for you, you do delivery, right?
Yes.
So their goal is that they want something delivered, and then they probably don't want to go through the process of driving where they need to go, pick it up and come home. They want the process to be seamless for them. So their goal is that they want something delivered to them. They want something, they want to purchase something and they want to have it probably as soon as possible, and they want it to be delivered for them. The pain point is that they don't want to go through the whole transportation. They're probably like me, a little bit lazy, so they don't want to like drive there. That's their pain point. So your value add is that don't worry about it. You stay home. I'll take care of everything for you. If they're a youngster, the chances are they're probably a little bit more impatient. They probably require more attention, better customer experience, something that's a little bit more seamless. Millennials are like notorious for that. Those are like the type of stuff I probably pay attention to. If you're doing delivery, one of the things is that for you to think about, Tegan, is that are they touchless? You know, for example, when I order Uber Eats, or even when people get on Uber, they always talk about how they want the whole experience to be touchless. They don't want to be talked to. They don't want to be approached. So you could do like, you could think about that if you're building your young professional persona.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Anyone else wants to share? We have 10 minutes left. If you've gone through the journey, you finished it, you can also share that too. I'd love to hear your personas too.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I was just checking if my microphone was working or not. I wanted to ask you something else. I didn't finish it. I would like to do it with someone else when I'm actually doing it. But I was hoping you could help me with it anyway, because when I look at your two personas for HubSpot, Growth Gary and Marketing Michelle, I guess that you guys probably was sitting and doing a workshop and like asked questions and like did some exercises to get to it, or something along that line. Is there some some good exercises you can use to like spark a bit of creativity and make you think a bit more in depth about how to do it? I think it's really difficult to sit and do it by myself and just build it without
I think one good thing is, I don't know if you have customer facing team. So like if you have a sales team, you could always talk to them. They will always tell you what types of people they're interacting. And HubSpot is a little bit different. I think they have like dozens, but like you don't need to build that many for yourself. If you have like 2 or 3, that's more than enough. And if you don't have data, that's completely okay. Just talk to your customers and get a sense of what they're looking for. You can always feel the trend. Anyone else wants to share? You're welcome. So if no one has any questions, or if they don't want to share, Amanda, should we stop it here? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure meeting you all. If you have any questions, if you want to have a chat, feel free to send me an email. I'm going to drop my email address in here as well, or add me on LinkedIn. No problem with that at all. I'm always open to make some time for you guys.